Okay, so here's a fascinating hook for you. We actually asked ChatGPT who it thinks could be the next pope.
Oh, wow. An AI tackling the conclave. That's different.
Exactly. With Pope Francis's passing, sadly, on April 21st, 2025, the 135 cardinal electors are getting ready.
The conclave. Always shrouded in a bit of mystery.
So for this deep dive, we're looking at ChatGPT's analysis. It sifted through public info to give us a snapshot of potential successors.
So basically using AI to get a quick read on the papabili, the likely candidates?
Yeah, think of it like your cheat sheet for understanding who's potentially in the running and what factors might matter.
It's definitely intriguing. So who did the AI flag?
Well, it came up with 6 main names, a pretty diverse group, actually.
Reflecting the global church, I suppose.
For sure. First, Cardinal Pietro Parolin. Italian, he's the Vatican Secretary of State right now.
Parolin. Yes, huge diplomatic experience there. ChatGPT must have picked up on that.
Definitely. Seen as maybe a continuity choice, good with international relations.
Makes sense. Geopolitics isn't getting any simpler.
Then, also from Italy, Cardinal Matteo Zuppi. He's the Archbishop of Bologna.
Zuppi, often mentioned as being, quite aligned with Francis. Focus on peace, inclusion.
That's what the AI highlighted, sort of embodying that Francis spirit, potentially pushing reforms forward.
So 2 Italians right off the bat. Interesting contrast there, the diplomat and the pastor.
Yeah. Then moving outside Italy, we've got Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle from the Philippines.
Tagle runs the dicastery for evangelization now. Very popular figure, very charismatic.
But ChatGPT noted his charisma, his missionary background in Asia, a big voice from the global south.
And that's crucial. The growth of the church in Asia and Africa is undeniable.
Which brings us to Cardinal Peter Turkson from Ghana.
Turkson, he used to head the dicastery for promoting integral human development, big focus on social justice, environment.
Exactly. Advocacy for human rights, environmental issues, another strong voice from Africa.
So Tagle and Turkson really represent that shift, don't they? The potential for a pope from the global south.
Mm-hmm. The AI also listed Cardinal Fridolin Mbongo, Democratic Republic of Congo, Archbishop of Kinshasa.
Mbongo, known for articulating, let's say, traditional African values more strongly.
Yeah, that's how ChatGPT framed it, representing another important perspective within the global church.
Diversity of thought, even geographically.
And finally, Cardinal Jean-Marc Aveline from France, Archbishop of Marseille.
Aveline, focused on theology, pastoral work, and I believe interreligious dialogue.
That's it. Especially important in a place like Marseille with its diverse population. So, building bridges.
Okay, so that's the main list of sunks from the AI, a real mix.
So the big question, if ChatGPT had a bet, who did it pick?
I'm curious about this part.
It leaned towards Cardinal Matteo Zuppi.
Zuppi. Okay, why? What was the AI's reasoning?
Well, several things. Italian nationality may be seen as a plus by some. His alignment with Francis's priorities, we talked about poverty, dialogue, reform.
And he seems respected across different groups, doesn't he? Moderates, progressives.
Exactly. The AI saw him as having a potentially unifying profile.
Makes sense. And did it have a runner-up?
It did. Cardinal Tagle acknowledged his huge popularity, charisma.
There's always a but.
But noted that maybe his geographic distance, being from the Philippines, could be a hurdle for some more conservative cardinals. Tradition, perhaps.
Right. The idea of a non-European pope is still relatively new, historically speaking. Interesting calculation by the AI.
What I found really cool was how it tried to quantify things. It made this tableau de chance, a scorecard.
A scorecard for papal candidates. How did that work?
It rated the main guys on criteria like proximity to Francis, diplomatic experience, perceived charisma, and global acceptability on a 1 to 5 scale.
Okay. And who came out on top in the scoring?
Well, both Zuppi and Tagle tied for the highest overall score, 4.30 out of 5.
Tied. So the AI's top 2 picks also scored highest on its own metrics. That tracks.
Yeah. Parolin was next, pretty close at 4.05. Then Turkson at 3.20 and Mbongo at 2.95. Aveline was lower, though the exact score wasn't stated.
So a clear top tier in the AI's view. Zuppi, Tagle, Parolin.
Pretty much. But then it got even more nuanced. It looked at different scenarios for the conclave.
Like what-if situation.
Exactly. Scenario 1. Consensus repeat, a quick agreement. Here, it weighted proximity to Francis as higher.
And who led then?
Zuppi and Tagle stayed right at the top, score bumped to 4.4.
Okay. What was scenario 2?
Blockage in negotiations, basically. Deadlock and heavy negotiation. Here, diplomatic experience got weighted more.
Ah, so that would favor.
Parallel, he became more competitive, his score rising to 4.2. Makes sense, right? But it's about complex talks.
Absolutely. The experienced diplomat shines when things get stuck. And the third scenario?
Volonté de changement forte, a strong desire for change. Here, perceived charisma was the key factor.
Charisma. So that points towards Stagel.
Yep. He took a slight lead in that scenario, score hitting 4.6.
Fascinating. It really shows how shifting priorities among the electors could totally change the outcome. It's not just one single calculation.
Not at all. So let's maybe dive a bit deeper into Zuppi, since he was the AI's top overall pick.
Good idea. Give us the rundown based on the AI's profile.
Okay, so born in Rome, 1955, studied theology, but also literature and philosophy, ordained in 81.
Solid background. Where did he serve initially?
Roman parishes. But a key thing is his deep involvement with the community of Sant'Egidio for a long time.
Sant'Egidio, known for working with the poor, peace mediation.
Exactly. And that connects to his role in the 1992 Mozambique peace accords. He was right in the thick of that.
That's significant mediation experience, even if it wasn't traditional Vatican diplomacy. Shows a certain skill set.
Definitely. Then, Archbishop of Bologna in 2015, Cardinal in 2019, quite recently 2022, President of the Italian Episcopal Conference.
President of the CEI, that's a major leadership role in the Italian church, shows trust from his fellow bishops.
And he's known, really known, for focusing on the poor, migrants, the marginalized, very much in line with Francis.
Any specific examples?
Well, he wrote the preface for the Italian edition of Building a Bridge. That's the book advocating a more welcoming pastoral approach towards LGBTQ plus people.
Right, wading into sensitive territory there signals a willingness to engage with difficult contemporary issues.
And his style is apparently very simple, accessible, often seen on a bicycle. People call him a street priest.
That image resonates, doesn't it? The opposite of a distant prelate embodies that closeness Francis talks about.
And then there's the Ukraine mission. In 2023, Pope Francis sent him as a special peace envoy.
Ah, yes. He met with officials in Kyiv, Moscow, Washington. A very high-profile, difficult task.
Shows huge confidence from Francis, putting him in that role, and underscores that peace focus again.
So putting it all together, you can see why the AI landed on Zuppi, the Sant'Egidio background, the alignment with Francis, the Italian leadership role, the recent diplomacy. It paints a compelling picture.
It does. So summing up the AI's take, Zuppi and Tagle look like the leading contenders on paper.
But with Parolin close behind, especially if diplomacy becomes key.
Right. But as we know, and as the AI kind of acknowledges with the scenarios, conclaves are notoriously unpredictable.
Absolutely. Personal relationships, spiritual discernment, unexpected shifts, things algorithms can't really model. Surprises are always possible.
It definitely leaves you thinking, doesn't it? What qualities do you think are most vital for the next pope, given all the challenges the church and the world are facing right now?
That's the real question, isn't it? Beyond the analysis.
Indeed. Well, this has been a deep dive from Le Podcast of Philippe.
Thanks for tuning in.
And please, if you enjoyed this, help us reach 1,000 subscribers. We'd really appreciate it.